So thank you very much, Ruby, for inviting me, and also Roland, and also for hosting this event in TÜV Süd. I heard 40 years of experience, 20 years in PV. I'm in between, so I'm 30 years, and this have been very interesting years. And at the end of the whole supply chain, you know, there is the solar cell. Of course, storage is becoming now more and more important, and we will talk about storage. But let me now summarize what we did in the past and what we think will be the next technology for the future. So I have now 30 minutes to speak, so please stop me if I'm too long, because I tend to speak too much. So at the beginning, I will tell you about ISC Konstanz. Ruby already mentioned it. We have now 20th anniversary, and we will celebrate it at ISC Konstanz. Then about the status of current solar cells, and stability is a very important issue. So, because many people think now we go to N-type is becoming complicated, and I've heard a lot of things, and TOPCon is degrading, and but I would like to take you the fear a little bit. If your module is proven from TÜV or any other authority, so N-type is actually of a very good quality when you know what you are doing, and it should not degrade. And I will show you some graphs about that later on. So we are actually entering not only the highest efficient modules era, but also very stable if you do it correctly. Then about the roadmap. When will perovskite come? Will they come or not? So we have some opinion on that. I will show you some graphs on that. So ISC Konstanz. So the picture from the past, from our foundation. You can see here it looks like a little bit like the Microsoft nerds. The picture is a little bit blurry, and you can see, for example, Christian Peter, who is also here with me, then Peter Fahrt, maybe you know, and our Professor Bucher. So actually Professor Bucher was also teaching Roland here, so he was longer in PV. But what I want to show you in this slide is that from the beginning on we were talking about N-type technologies in 2005. And we were saying already at that time, bifacial N-type is the future. It took a little bit time, but now bifacial N-type is the future. And what we are saying at the moment, that bifacial IBC will be the next step from TOPCon. And not many people still, let's say, believe in that. There's a consortium of ICO, Longi, and Maxil, they are also here. And there's, let's say, another part like Trina and Q-cells, they say that we will enter quite quickly into TOPCon with perovskite on top, tandem. I think this will take a little bit longer time, but I will explain later on. But already at that time, we were talking about N-type bifacial. So this is where you can find Konstanz, and this is also where you can find Energy Depot on the Swiss side. So they are here, and Swiss is having very good quality, so also the batteries from there. The Lake of Konstanz is surrounded by 3 countries, and if you come to visit us from China or from any other places, please do not fly to Stuttgart, but to Zurich. This is a closer way to come to Konstanz. We are a group of 65 dedicated people working on crystalline silicon photovoltaics. But what is special about ISC Konstanz that about 20 people are dedicated to go out there in the production lines and assisting currently US manufacturers or Indian manufacturers also to set up their production lines. So far we have transferred about 5 gigawatt technology and started in 2015. I will show you later on the companies that we worked on. So at the beginning there is the cell, but of course we are not only working on cells, but also on systems. So Christian is heading the group about PV systems and even developing some smart grid in villages close to Konstanz. But today I will concentrate only on cell and module. But next Monday, And if you have time to come to Konstanz, please come. Next Monday we are also running a workshop on systems at ISC Konstanz. And if you are interested, maybe also to follow with a Zoom link, go to Christian. Christian, please raise your hand. And he will give him your business card and he will send you the Zoom link. Good, so what we are offering at ISC Konstanz, N-type technologies of course, because we started with N-type. So at the moment our most important product is the standard TOPCon. Then we are working on TOPCon 2.0 we call it. In China it's called double poly. But on the other side we are also working on TOPCon back contact, like ICO. What is ICO? Having already in this portfolio, or Longi or Maxion since a long time. We call it IBC 2.0. And in all of these technologies we are working on copper metallization, but not copper with plating, copper with screen printing. So we have a very special technology where we are using silver to make the contact to the substrate, and then do a dual print with copper to enhance the conductivity. And because if we go to N-type technologies these days, you know that production of copper is extremely important. And with this technology we can have a copper consumption of only 3 to 4 milligram per watt peak, which is extremely low. Of course we are also working on tandem technologies, but so far we have of course transferred only crystalline silicon technology, started in Italy with our Bison process, already N-type. I will not go through all the list, but currently our people are in India at MB helping with the ramp up of TOPCon production, and in US at the customer ramping up PERC. So US still also starts PERC production for different reasons, also for IP constraints and simplicity of the process. So they don't want to go to, let's say, complex TOPCon, because let's say the people in US, they lost the ability to produce solar cells, so it's better to start with PERC. So in 2027, this is how we believe the world's production will look like. There will be 1 terawatt produced in China, about 100 gigawatt produced in India. So they have already about 100 gigawatt module production. The plan is to go towards 100 gigawatt cell production. And this is what is happening at the moment. Of course, in US there is some interesting time now. So we do not know what will happen there, but at least they had a plan to go to 50 gigawatt production of modules and cells. And in Europe, our plans are a little bit lower. Let's see what will happen here. I think we will discuss this later on, but at least we are still starting with module production. There are many new module projects which could happen, and our customers are spread all around the world, and we are already talking, for example, also with Indian customers about back contact technology. Also we have one customer in US. And my final slide about ISC Konstanz is that we are having a common booth with SPIC also this year, so please visit us and we can talk about back contact technology. Good, now about status of solar cells. I would like to start with modules, because of course there are many announcements out there that Longi has now reached an efficiency of 27.x with their IBC solar cells, but what is happening really in production you can see from the module charts, because this is actually the modules that are offered for sales, and I always like to use the Thailand News module chart. It's the new one from April 2025, and actually this chart didn't change so much in the last couple of months. There's always ICO, Longi and Maxion being on the top of the chart, and these are the back contact technologies having efficiencies more than 24%. And we believe that actually that the back contact technologies will take over. So at the moment TOPCon is the dominating technology, but in 3 to 4 years from now TOPCon will move to back contact. I will explain why. Then we have, of course, heterojunction and TOPCon technologies. They are reaching 23%, and PERC, they can reach 22% efficiency. So from the ITR PV roadmap, and they are changing it every year, this is the new one. We are here in 2025. Of course, PERC technology is fading out. Then we have TOPCon is the most of the technology share. Then we have silicon heterojunction back contact. But until 2027, 2028, there will be more and more share of back contact technologies. We even believe it will go faster than that, because you need this improvement of 0.3, 0.4% absolute in efficiency. And this is what you can see here from the past. I use this famous chart from Fraunhofer ISC quite often to show actually that the efficiency improvement out there is always a voltage improvement. So we have started from aluminum back surface field in 2015, and then in 2020 it faded out because it was not strong enough to compete with PERC. Then PERC came into the market. Now we have the N-type era, which is heterojunction, silicon heterojunction IBC and TOPCon. And this is basically only because, or mostly because of the improvement in the voltages. And that's because the surfaces are better passivated and the material is improved. Then the question is, when will tandem come? Of course, there are many announcements that 30% efficiency have been already reached on large substrates, but let's say there are still many problems, not only the stability, also the reverse behavior, also the cost of deposition and so on. So I think that actually tandem will come. It will come first on a niche market, and it will really come on gigawatt scale into the market. I'm not quite sure. And this will, let's say, depend on also on how the back contact technology, how fast it will penetrate into the market. And so if you look at the different eras from this perspective, as I told you, alu back surface field, PERC, TOPCon, and now the decision for the next couple of years, will TOPCon go to TOPCon double poly, like I call selfie, or will it now go to back contact? And actually it's easier to go to the back contact technology because you can do the polysilicon deposition on the rear side. You can just leave the front side completely uncovered. And one major advantage is also that you can do the alternative metallization on the rear side. If tandems will come, as I said, I'm not quite sure. Of course, for example, Oxford PV is having some product, but still also the degradation are causing some issues. Now coming to back contact technologies, in the past there have been coupled, there have been also P-type technology that Longi was working on. We have brought into the market so-called Zebra technology, which was a technology without any passivating contacts. And now we are in a phase where actually these IBC technologies are being standardized. And that's also the time when a technology becomes mainstream, when more or less all the companies are selecting only one single route for IBC technology, and this is this so-called TOPCon back contact technology. Longi, SPIC, or Maxeon has it already in this portfolio, and so the TOPCon back contact is becoming more and more important. You will see it on the fair that not only these are having new products, but there are more and more companies already releasing their back contact products. And this is one of the pictures from our Wi-Fi workshop in China, in Zhuhai, where we were discussing between ICO, Longi, and Maxeon what are actually the most important features of a back contact technology, or what are the properties. And the outcome was actually that now the material is becoming more and more semiconductor grade, also for TOPCon, but of course for back contact technologies you need even more, or let's say the quality has to be higher. And then laser technologies are becoming more and more important. Fast lasers to ablate the layers on the top to make these P+, N+ regions. Zero busbar technology is also coming for back contact technologies, and bifaciality also something important for back contact, because when you think about back contact you might think that it is not bifacial, but it is. And in order to bring it into the utility scale, the bifacial factor has to be very close to TOPCon. Otherwise you will not have any chance to bring it into the utility scale. And this is what is happening at the moment, that the bifacial factors of the back contact technologies are becoming higher and higher. And the goal for this year from ICO and Longi is to go close to 0.8%, similar to TOPCon bifacial factors. We will organize now, November this year, another bifacial workshop in China, organized by Longi, so please, if you have time, come there and discuss with us. We organized also last year a back contact workshop in Europe. So this is David from Maxeon, and he was quite happy that he can talk about his back contact technology, because he was not allowed to talk about it for many years. But now Maxeon is somehow opening up, because it now belongs to TCL. So here we have Alex. I saw him here in the back from Astra Energy. Thank you, Alex, for participating also in the discussion. And more or less, the outcome there was that laser technologies are getting more and more important. At the moment, fast lasers are expensive, but this is improving. And David said actually that the major advantage of the back contact technology is also the different breakthrough characteristics. Also that in your modules you don't have to use so many bypass diodes, and the module is better protected, and it has better properties, for example, in terms of shading and things like that. So come to Amsterdam in December if you are interested. We are organizing also another back contact workshop. Now, what will be very important for tomorrow, I told you standardization is becoming more and more important. And there will be an announcement from Longi at the Longi booth at 11. And I'm moderating it. I'm quite nervous. I've never done this before. Moderation of white paper release and 2 new products from Longi. And in this paper you can see how the standardization is now looking like, that ICO and Longi are following. And this is one page from the white paper, for example. They are describing the process routes and what are the advantages of the back contact technologies. Of course, we all know it, that it's the highest efficiency potential, and process compatibility is also good, because you are more or less using all the machines that you use in TOPCon. The bifacial gain is very comparable these days already to TOPCon. So they are also very sure that actually the next step from TOPCon is TOPCon back contact. As I told you, one important thing in that is also the bifaciality. We were promoting bifaciality already since 2012, and this is some graphs from the Nature publications we had. And of course, it's extremely important when you put a module into utility scale that it is bifacial. So if IBC can become bifacial, which is happening these days, and there are already many modules from ICO in utility scale, so the flip is already starting these days. Of course, we have to reduce the costs for the back contact technology, and this is what is happening at the moment. So here you can see all the cells, front side, rear side of the coexisting solar cell technologies on the market. The potential of IBC is about 26%, and bifacial factor at the moment going close to 0.8. These are the respective modules. So actually you cannot see the difference, so the customer actually cannot see what is inside, but the IBC technologies are now having the highest efficiencies, more than 24%. And on this graph you can see the advantages that you already saw from the white paper. This is my slide that I'm using already since a couple of years, that you can go to 26% with the back contact technology. This is not only because the high efficiency of the back contact, but also of the modules, because you can design the modules slightly differently. You can go to negative gap. Good, now stability. Do I have 10 minutes left or? Yeah, okay. Stability is a very important topic, and maybe you remember the time when PERC came into the market and people were not knowing what is LETID and were quite crazy about it. And so we had a publication in the PV Tech. We were explaining, if you have a solar cell, then there are 3 different potentials for degradation. It's the bulk, it's the passivation on the rear side, and it can be also the passivation on the front side, and also the hydrogen penetration into the bulk. And that means that LETID actually depends on 3 different things, more or less: LID, hydrogen-induced degradation, and also passivation degradation. And this can happen in N-type as well, but you are processing at lower temperatures, and that's why actually to have an LETID in an N-type cell, it's possible, but you really have to make a very long process. So in P-type, PERC, especially with boron diffusion, it was possible. Now also gallium doping was established at PERC, so it was not that common, but still there's still quite a big LETID degradation from modules, from PERC modules which were processed not very well. Of course, you have then PID, and there was also a time where people were afraid of PID. Now it's well understood, and this can also happen in N-type, but it's actually inverted. So you have these 2 different effects. You have PID shunt and PID polarization, and in bifacial PERC cells, of course, you can have the PID also polarization from the rear side. But here, for example, you can use good encapsulation material, polyolefins, which actually are driving down this PID effect. So choosing the right bomb actually prevents the PID. And now, the hottest topic is UV degradation. There's quite a nice paper from NREL looking at the UV degradation from different solar cells, from front side and back side. And what you can see here, this is better, that actually the heterojunction solar cells, they have a severe UV degradation, and that's why also the heterojunction modules are putting UV blockers into the glass or the encapsulant. And here you can see IBC solar cells. It was actually a zebra, because at that time there was no bifacial solar cell, only from ISC Konstanz, and you can see that you don't see any degradation, and that's because we had diffused surfaces and passivated surfaces. And so for heterojunction, it's quite complex on cell level. To get rid of the UV degradation, you have to use UV blockers. For others, it's not necessary. And then I have put some table up here also for N-type modules. So LETID, PID, UV, and what's also important, this is moisture. And for some time, people were saying that TOPCon is degrading a lot because of the aluminum silver fingers. Now, with the new technology, with the LICO, only silver can be used, and that's why also this moisture topic is gone. So more or less, as I told you at the beginning, N-type solar cells, of course, they are more complex than P-type, but because we are using very good quality material, which is actually electronic grade. Now Longi are also using antimony doped substrates, so even the quality of the material is getting better. That's why you are ending up with superior efficiency, with low degradation, if you know what you are doing on cell level, and if you know, or if you are selecting the bomb well matched to the solar cell. Now, my last topic, 5 minutes, or 3 minutes, is about what will happen in the past. And we have written now a short paper about crystalline silicon, which should be now published in PV Tech. More or less the saying is now everything is going towards, as Roland already say, crystalline silicon with storage is already the dominating technology in terms of low-cost electricity. And if you can see the calculations from Lazar, it's from 2023, but the new calculations are even better. Then even solar with storage is already having very low LCOEs. That means, let's say, almost the final step we have already done. Of course, now we have solved still the season storage with hydrogen. But, and this is my favorite picture from the publication from 2023 from NICE. He has made LCOE calculations globally with storage, and he has seen actually that these days the cheapest source is PV and wind with storage, but because PV is on a fast learning curve still, so at the moment we have average efficiencies of 23% modules. In the future we will approach 26%, so there is still a fast learning curve. PV with storage will win the race. And what will be the winner? And I'm quite sure it's the back contact, because we are still on a learning curve, and if tandem will come, I'm not quite sure, because there are still many issues to be solved. So if you print these technologies of this curve, so you can see actually that now we are entering 1 terawatt era, and back contact technologies will be the winner. The problem, or let's say the challenge, is will tandem come or not. So this will be the future. I'm quite sure that in the future we will have 25% module efficiencies, even in utility scale, and reaching LCOEs below 1 cent per kilowatt hour. So coming to the summary. Bifacial NPV is the new impairer. Of course, TOPCon heterojunction and also IBC will be used for utility scale. Bifaciality will reach 0.8% in the past, in the future. And the biggest advantages of back contact tech are highest efficiency, but also the low breakdown voltage and also the stability.